Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I am joined by my lovely co-host,
Mary.
And today, we're talking Survivor 46, the final 15, which sounds more epic than it really is. It's only been 3 episodes, but the final 15. Ooh, put that on your resume. We're here to rank every single player left in the game. We're here to talk about the secret scenes, which again, at least one of them is applicable to, in my opinion,
winner analysis.
Yes, winner analysis.
2 of them are applicable to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, first, Mary, Rebekah and I talked endlessly yesterday, threw in maybe a few too many inside jokes. I don't know if inside's the right word.
Did you throw in several jokes?
I threw in at least several jokes last night. Yes. So, Mary, what are your thoughts on the show after 3 episodes?
Well, first of all, I was very excited to go back to a 90-minute episode. It was very refreshing. It felt much better paced. So I enjoyed that a lot. Even with the lame ending of medical evacuation, I think overall it's a good episode. And I say lame ending because I hate that. I just hate when people get medically evacuated. I know there's nothing you can do about it. Like, these things happen.
Well, medically evacuated, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm fine.
And he was fine. Like, not that there was no reason, because obviously there was a reason. And I'm glad that they took him because it could have been worse and you don't know. But it's just like kind of heartbreaking that something like that happened. Although at the same time, I was happy kind of that Bhanu stayed in.
It's weird because Bhanu was like, I prayed to God, that I would be saved or something would happen. It's like, oh,
yeah.
It's like
a little drastic there.
That's not how this works.
Yeah. But overall, I felt like it was a fairly strong episode compared to the first, or especially last week's that just seemed so slow. So I enjoyed it overall. As far as just notes on the overall episode, I have a few things I noted that we'll talk about as far as players and their winner analysis, of course. But I thought it was cool that Hunter made a bed. That felt very Rob to me, although probably better than Rob.
Boston Rob had like a ton of materials, and I was talking about his massive shelter he built in Island of the Idols.
Just every time he's on, he tends to be building stuff or doing something extra. I think he made swings one time.
Starting with All Stars, they basically just gift Rob a bunch of materials, or not materials, but tools to make shelters. It seems like.
Yeah. Bhanu had several moments, which I know we'll talk about when we get to him, but just his comments about being a wackadoodle and wanting to win 1 million hearts. Like, how can you not love this guy? He's just so fun.
Well, surprising, Mary. I think you might be in the minority on that one. Most people did not like this episode.
Really?
And most people do not like Bhanu and his excessive crying. In fact, Chrissy Hoffbeck from Survivor 35 was like, can we go back to 60-minute episodes so there's less crying? And I was like, dang. I was like, first off, no, I enjoy the 90 minutes.
I do enjoy the 90 minutes. And if you don't, like, I understand Bhanu's personality may not jive well with everyone. So I get that. It was definitely a Bhanu-focused episode, for sure.
So it was the story of Bhanu.
It was the story of Bhanu.
That's what this episode really was. For better or for worse, and in many people's opinion, for worse.
Gotcha.
So, all right, Mary. Well, that's your general thoughts. So let's say out of 5, what would you rank? How would you rate the season so far?
So far, it's still pretty low for me. Like a 2.
Yeah.
We'll see how it ends, but I'm just not as impressed with the longer episodes, and it's dragged a little bit to me.
For me, that's the thing. I almost agree with you. It's somewhere between 2 and a 3. If I had to pick one, to pick 3.
2.5.
We're not doing a 2.5.
Okay.
If I had to pick one, I'd lean more towards a 3, because I usually ask every week on our community tab how everyone else rates the seasons, and they can't do 2.5 because there's only 5 options. The YouTube poll limits me. So I'll pick 3, pick 2. Together, 2.5.
Gotcha. Okay.
But really, episode 2 dragged down the season so much for me. That was like, all right. So we are going to talk about secret scenes that are on the Survivor CBS YouTube channel. And also they put up the 3rd one on EW.com. Specifically, Dalton Ross is the one who gets to post it. So that's where we get these from. You can check them out yourself. They're completely free. You don't have to subscribe to anything to watch them. So Mary, is there any pointless secret scenes?
I would say these are actually all 3 good secret scenes.
All right, let's go from least important to most important.
The least important is probably the one that's not on the CBS YouTube, Survivor YouTube, the one on Dalton Ross's website. So this one was just about the storm that happened on night 6. And obviously we knew there was a storm because of
Brandon mentioned it when he talked about his trapped nerve.
Right. Brandon mentioned it, and Yanu was out sleeping under an overhang because of the storm. So basically, this secret scene is showing how each of the 3 tribes are handling the storm. So we start with Siga. And of course, Siga's the vibe tribe, right? So Siga's like, oh no, the rain's coming. They're all like, grab your stuff. Lots of energy, excitement. They get in the shelter. And at first, they do seem a little bit down. And then Ben cracks a joke. And then Charlie cracks a joke. And they're just sitting there in the tent or in the shelter, kind of cutting up while this terrible storm is going on. So that was Siga. And then we cut to Nami. And Nami's, oh no, the storm's coming. Okay, get your water. Make sure the fire's okay. Do this. And then they're like, just logical about it. Like, we're going to survive this storm. And they gather on the fire and cut to Randon saying, we're going to survive. We're warriors. We've got this kind of mentality. Then cut to Yanu and nobody's talking. They're all curled up in fetal positions, basically. There's no confessionals. It's just like silence showing their misery. Cut to Tiffany saying this was like the worst night ever. We fail at life. We can't get shelter. We can't get fire. We can't stay dry. We're sleeping in the dirt. Everything's terrible.
While I don't think this is important to winner analysis, this scene, like as you've implied, I think this should have been in the show.
That's what I was saying. I didn't mean it was important to winner analysis. I'm just saying we have such long episodes now. Why couldn't this have been in the show? I thought it was interesting.
This is more interesting than the whole Siga 4 days ago thing. Should have been episode 2 when we were really struggling for anything interesting most of the time. And then this episode could have included that because I want to see people struggling to survive on Survivor.
Right.
Yes. It's part of the show.
Right. And how you handle different...
And the tribe dynamics.
Yeah, the tribe dynamics. Yeah. And like, I thought it was a great scene. And that's why I'm saying, it should have been in the show proper.
It's a must watch, but they cut it out of the show, which means it's not important to the overall story. But in my opinion, it's one of those scenes that, why did they, like, and this only happens maybe once or twice a season where I'll say, this scene should have been in the show. Why did they cut this? It's just this brings a lot of flavor. It's like I don't want to watch Survivor to see everyone on a sunny beach for 26 days. Where's the nighttime scenes? Where's the struggle?
Right.
That's why talk about the Flint if we're not going to see anybody really struggling without a Flint. Right.
And when you do have those random confessionals, or at the end, well, this has been the hardest journey of my life. Yada, yada. Okay, so let's see that.
Yeah. So when I just see you, on a beach and it's sunny for 26 days, and it's not the player's fault.
No, that's definitely editing.
Because clearly stuff's happening. They're just not showing it. So
right.
That's a good scene. It's not at all applicable to winner analysis. Right. So what's the next scene?
The next scene that you don't think may be applicable to winner analysis as much as I do is a Siga secret scene. And basically, Jim is trying to talk strategy with Ben and Tim. So again, we've seen this before. It's pretty similar to the last secret scene with Siga where Jim's like, okay, guys, what are you thinking? And once again, Ben's just like, I have no idea. No one said anything wrong. How could I vote anyone out? And so he refuses to talk. And it keeps cutting to Tim's face. And Tim is like wanting to say something, I think. That's how it's edited. But Ben just like, I don't know. And Jem just kept saying over and over, well, we need to think about like who's going to be loyal. Loyalty matters. Loyalty is important. Who are you close to? I can tell you, Tim and Ben are very close. And Ben says, yeah, we're tight, but we don't talk strategy. And so it's just like Jem is really trying to play and they're not playing. At least Ben is not playing. And it seems like Tim's kind of just holding back, like letting them talk it out. I'm trying to remember. I think Tim said something. Yes, he did. He said, I'm trying to keep in mind who's going to help us win challenges. So again, he's vague, but at least it was a little bit more than what Ben was saying. So I only think it's important because if Jem is good, I think this is a good on Jem. She's trying to talk. And even though she's being negative, like getting negative pushback and no one's responding to her, they cut it from the show. I mean, again, that's more important than Ben and Charlie's music battle, right? This is at least strategy. No, it's strategy.
Taylor Swift and Metallica was very important considering how big Taylor Swift was during this past NFL season. Sure. I think that's why
I know that's why it is. But anyway, so that was in my mind.
Taylor Swift's just so hot right now.
In my mind, if Jem was going to be the winner, we would see more of her strategy. And this is her strategy so far has been in 2 secret scenes. So my opinion on that one. Okay, final one is...
This one is the most important.
I would say. It's called Tevin Loses Soda's Shoe. Tevin is narrating how they won the fishing gear. He and Hunter and, one other person go out into the water to go fishing.
You're terrible.
I know, exactly.
Is it Liz with her fat stacks of cash?
No, it was... It was Randon. It was Randon.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. And so they go out there. They haven't even gotten in the boat, and the waves are like crashing. They're falling. It's the worst time to go fishing, apparently, because they can't even get in the boat. They're cut all up. So they come back in from trying to do this. Tevin is limping towards Soda and just has the most dramatic woe is me look on his face. And he stops.
That doesn't even sound like him. So this has to be serious.
And he says, Soda, will you help me, please? And so Soda's like, yes. And so she grabs him. What can I do? Help me walk over here. Like he can't even walk.
Mary's dramatizing it. Tevin was being legit. Like he's legit in trouble here.
Okay. So they walk away from the camp and he's crying. I put quote unquote because there's no tears at all. And he's trying to tell a story and he gets too choked up. He can't tell a story. So Soda's like, what is wrong? And he's just leaning on her shoulder crying. And Soda's like, is it my shoes? Because obviously she sees he's not wearing her shoes anymore.
That he borrowed.
And he's like, yes, I'm so sorry. And again, such dramatic crying, so obviously fake. And Soda's just like, it's okay, Tevin. I have more shoes, but I only have one Tevin. And just, can I help you back?
Soda's and then they go buying hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, Soda's like, how? I mean, I don't know. I understand that maybe Tevin's a good actor, but this seems just so way too dramatic. And in my opinion, I'm like, okay, so the show really wants us to like Tevin.
Yes.
We don't want to see any of his negative content. This to me could be good. Like if you want a villainous winner, this would be in the show. But I don't think they want a villainous winner.
They explicitly say they're not doing villains anymore.
Right.
Unless they have 3 dimensions and villain is just one of those dimensions.
So this is cut out of the show. I mean,
they don't want you to not like the winner. That's for sure.
But they're still showing it because it's about Tevin, or they're still showing
anything. This is on a YouTube channel that gets like maybe a couple thousand views a week.
You know what I mean? Why you even put it on there then?
Because it's interesting.
Because it's interesting.
Yeah.
Because Tevin's interesting.
Because Tevin is inherently interesting. Yes. But this is now 3 weeks, literally every week this season, they have cut a negative Tevin scene out of the show. And I think that is important to winner analysis.
Yes, I do too.
So we'll bring it up again when we talk about Tevin later on. But this is the kind of stuff that we're looking for. You know, what are they cutting out of the show is just as important as what they're leaving in. Now, I'm glad there's not like 15 secret scenes we have to sift through. In their opinion, these are the 3 that are most entertaining. Thankfully, none of them, Mary, was one where they breed tree mail.
That's true.
Thank the heavens.
That's happened for far too often.
I'm done with the tree mail secret scenes. They're worthless to me. Once a season is okay. I understand they're getting tree mail. I don't need to see it every time. But
right.
Yeah. So 3 weeks in a row, negative Tevin scenes have been cut out of the show. And I think that's important. So keep that in mind. All right. We're going to go through every player alphabetically. Liz did not sponsor our podcast with her fast stacks of cash. So I'm going to briefly mention that Patreon is a great way to financially support the channel. Do you like that? Yeah. Do you like that, Mary? You get all the podcasts ad free if you sign up as a free patron. We also have our Survivor Fantasy game that you can sign up for there. You do have to be a paid patron to do that. And of course, every video I make, you see them weeks, months early before they come out on YouTube. You can pick what I make on there. And I just greatly appreciate you all for making this channel a viable option. And we don't have to get people like Liz, even though I would appreciate Liz sponsoring the podcast. But for real, like companies having to sponsor us because you listen to On Fire podcast, Mary, it's 33 minutes, but I swear 6 to 8 minutes is just ads. Like this week was 33 minutes. I'm like, there's so many ads for 33 minutes of podcast. They didn't even have to do a visual medium. Those lucky people. All right, let's go. Ben is our first player. Mary, give me all of Ben's stats if he has. I know he has confessionals, but what else is it? You got anything else?
So Ben on Sega still has a shot in the dark, no votes against him. And so far he has six confessionals this week and a total of 13 confessionals.
And we have the confessional counter on the top right of the screen. I should have mentioned this earlier. People always ask. Top right of the screen, what that is to every player, how many confessionals, aka times they talk to the camera, listed episode by episode with their total. And it's good because we're going to talk about it here throughout the episode, especially this week when a few people got skunked, maybe several people got skunked. I mean, you can see it on the top right.
Several.
If you're on YouTube, you can see it on the top right of the screen. So that's what that is. It's a confessional counter that I get from Just Strategic on Twitter. Okay, sorry. So Ben, I feel like is a goof. By the way, I think he's a character. I don't think he's winning. But I do want to mention Ben on Twitter, and this is a funny thing, posted a cover of Wonderwall by Oasis.
Oh my.
Instead changing the lyrics about Bhanu and how they're going to say Bhanu. So I thought that was funny.
That is funny.
It's definitely something to check out. I don't know if he posted on anywhere else. I check his socials, but that was a pretty funny video. Okay. So that has nothing to do with winner analysis. I just thought it was funny. All right, Ben, I think he's truly a character, and I don't have high hopes for him winning at the moment, though he does get focused. But I think it's because he is somebody who I don't think we're going to forget in the sense of like, this dude is all music all the time. How does he name drop Nicolas Cage every week? I don't know. But Mary, what do you think about him?
I like Ben. I think Ben would be a fun person to have as your best friend, but maybe not the best person to play Survivor with.
Better than Bhanu.
Currently, I have him ranked 13th. He got a lot of confessionals this week because he went on the journey, but he failed. I just saying he's likable, he's fun. If he somehow slips to the end, the only way he would make it is based off his relationships. But we've seen he has no strategy, and the only way he makes relationships, it seems like, is through music or goofing off, which is fine. But you have to connect with people like on a deep level too. I think people want to see.
And if he is, they're not showing it.
Right. And if he is, they're not showing it. So we're just talking about what we've seen. So we've seen that he's on the bottom of his tribe, supposedly, because alliances haven't been tested yet, and that he's not really willing to work with anyone. So he's likable, he's fun, he's a character, he's goofy, but
that'll get you so far.
He's not really playing the game, in my opinion.
Ben for me is also 13, so we agree.
Crazy.
Rebekah has him ranked 8th.
Wow.
Last night I said, why do you have Ben ranked so high? I didn't really get a good answer, or I don't remember. It's one or the other, possibly both.
Possibly
but
the second.
More
one.
than likely the second one, knowing me. But yeah, she has him ranked high still. She has him at 8, or I say high because I feel like that's high for Ben specifically.
Yeah.
Over some people. But yes, Ben, I like him. I think he'll be a memorable character, kind of like Cody was in terms of like a true character. But strategically, chance of winning, I don't really see it at the moment. Something would have to change. And it doesn't look like there's a tribe swap.
Right.
Sometimes they'll make people unimportant to the story before a tribe swap because nothing that they do strategically before the tribe swap is important. And this could be a case of Sega because it kind of gets hinted at when Jem gets the box, which we'll bring up again later, how they might just win out on immunity challenges the way they kind of like mentioned that one part of the note that no one else is right out loud to us. So it could be that nothing strategically is important is going to happen pre-mergatory. So we'll see.
Right. Well, when you don't ever go to tribal, then yeah, it's hard to play strategy like you want to, but it's still important to do something. And Ben's not doing anything really.
Ben's 13th, but I'm just saying that the show may not be showing as much strategy from Sega because truly they're never going tribal and therefore it will not matter.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of like Bruce's tribe who never went to tribal. So all we ever heard was how much Katurah hated him.
Yes.
Because that was all they had that was interesting. So, all right. Anything else on Ben?
Nope.
Who's our next player?
Bhanu.
Oh boy.
Bhanu is on Yanu. He has 1 vote against him. He still has his shot in the dark. No advantages or idols. And he has a total of 25 confessionals. With this week, he had 13. It's definitely the highest of everyone.
I think he's beating one other person on his tribe by only a couple.
By one.
By one, okay. However, Bhanu, I feel like if this episode was basically making you feel like Bhanu was at his lowest at the beginning of the episode. They made sure that you don't care about Randon. That was important.
Yes.
And they wanted you to feel like Bhanu came out of this. Wow, I feel for Bhanu. How great is Bhanu? What they didn't anticipate was showing so much crying is just going to annoy a lot of the general fan base. You know, people watch shows like The Voice and they're over sob stories, and just seeing somebody cry so much is like, dude, I can only take so much of this. Yeah. Imagine us only take so much of this. He's doing it more often on the I imagine he's doing more often than we're seeing. Like they're editing out time he is crying. I don't know if times is the right word, but time. Because we're not seeing all the crying all the time. So, you know, anyways, you're supposed to root for Bhanu. I feel like that's why they had him stroke Survivor's ego so hard in the first episode. Because we had him ranked pretty high. Because I'm like, clearly the show loves him. And they still do love him. It's just Bhanu can't keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
And even next time on Survivor, it looks like that was immediately after Jeff Probst left. When they're like, Bhanu, what? And it's clear to me that he confessed what he said on the journey to his tribe. It's what it looked like. He feels so relieved he's not going. He's like, got to be honest with my tribe. Because you don't have to say everything in your brain.
Right.
It's an important life lesson.
Well, I was very proud of him when he came back from the journey and he lied.
It wasn't a great one, but it was better than...
We were talking in the middle of the journey. You said, okay, all he has to do is go back and say...
I have an idol and pretend to be happy.
Yes, and pretend to be happy. And I was like, but it's Bhanu. He can't lie. He's not going to be able to do it. And then he gets back and he lied. And I'm like, he did it.
He had half of one, yeah.
And you were right. They believed him because up to this point, Bhanu just says every single thing that's on his mind. And he's told them, I can't lie.
He's established himself as super trustworthy.
Yes.
He is the person who could say, I found an idol, not show you, and you would believe him because of how he's established himself. Yes. Unfortunately, the way he's established himself is exactly why you don't think he would ever be able to pull off a move like that. And the reason why he probably won't, and it's a shame because Bhanu could have come back and said, I had an idol, and everybody would believe him. Everybody would still believe him. But knowing him, once Jeff came, he would be like, actually, guys, I lied to you.
Right.
I don't have an idol. Mm-hmm. It's like, Bhanu, shut your mouth, dude.
No one told him.
No one asked. No.
Poor Bhanu. So here's my thing with Bhanu. I do have him ranked 14th. I don't think that he'll win, even if he gets to the end. I could see him being drugged along to the end. His whole conversation with Q about, and we'll talk about that when we get to Q too, but Q saying, I'm going to be Rob and you're going to be Philip Shepard and we're going to make it to the end.
Dude.
Could be a hint of him getting to the end, sure, but first of all, when the show is trying to compare Bhanu to Philip Shepard, that's like, oh no.
But also Bhanu, I'll give him credit, did not get offended.
It's true.
So he's not a person to say something to and he gets offended and therefore you don't want to talk to him. You just don't want to talk to him because he's afraid he'll tell everybody everything you told him. That's the issue.
That's honestly why I like Bhanu, because he is so genuine. Yes, he's crying all the time. And I'm sure if I was there, I'd be so frustrated
Sounds
and
like
annoyed
a good friend.
as well.
Sounds like a bad Survivor player.
Right. He's just like, he's almost childlike in his like simplicity and how much he loves people and how much he just cares. So that's why I think I enjoyed him, just because he's so real, like contrasted to Tevin, who's pretending to cry about shoes and people are believing him and saying it's okay.
Good Survivor player, questionable friend.
Yes. Bhanu, great friend, questionable Survivor player. So I just liked him because he's genuine. But do I think he's going to win? No, I do not.
Bhanu, Rebekah and I both have ranked him last, and you basically have him last. I'm actually surprised you have anybody below him.
Oh, you
know. And I bet you I will be offended by whoever you do have below him. I will. I know, because I've already seen the rankings. Rankings are in the description, text version of them. All right. Who is next after Bhanu?
Next, we have Charlie. Charlie's on Siga. Saw as a shot in the dark, no advantages or idols or anything of that. He has a total of 15 confessionals. He only had one this week.
He had 14 through 2 episodes. And I was like, should I be paying more attention to Charlie? But to be fair, this week, Siga kind of got skunked.
Siga did get skunked. It was definitely the Bhanu show, Bhanu and Yanu show.
The Bhanu Yanu show, yeah.
With a little bit, of course, of Nami for Randon's benefit. But yeah, it's definitely mostly about the purple. So I wouldn't take that too much into consideration. Ben got the most out of his tribe because of the journey. Everyone else is 1 or 0 on Siga this week. So definitely Siga was just quiet. You want me to talk about Charlie first?
Please.
Okay. I think he's in a good position in his tribe. Again, we've kind of said we think Siga's going to last at least until the merge because we don't know where alliances are. We don't know, and it seems to not be very important about the alliances on Siga. So we're assuming that they make it, everyone in Siga makes it to the merge, or at least most of them.
Yeah.
But again, I think Charlie's in a good spot. He's in his tight alliance with Moriah and the Charlie's Angels.
Marie.
His content's usually always positive. And he's a likable character. I think he's going to slip through for a while because he's not going to be perceived as a big strategy or target for physical challenges or anything like that. But
he's a spitting image of Carson. And these people probably recently watched 44 because this was filmed right after 44 finished airing. So
I'm just saying, I definitely think he'll make it to the merge.
Yes.
And I think he will probably make it the first couple of boots. So you make the first couple of boots, you've got a really good chance. So
pretty sure all Siga is going to make the merge the way we're going. Yes. And the way it seems to be hinted, that's how we're doing
That's how it's being led. So I have him 5th, top middle of the top half. Top middle of the top half.
Are you on drugs, Mary? Okay,
Yep.
so I have Charlie ranked number 6. Rebekah has him ranked number 10.
Wow.
Charlie for me was more of a matter of there's like a huge group of people who I'm like, they're all, it's just only because we've only seen Yanu's the only tribe I feel good about.
Yeah.
Knowing how they stand because I've seen them play.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone else is just playing Kumbaya Survivor.
Right.
At the moment. We're all just being friends with each other. We're goofing off. We're winning challenges. And I was really hoping for tribe swap next week so we could see something, anything change up. And maybe like next week, Nami loses since we think Siga's going to win out based on that, based on the editing hint that we'll talk about during Gem's part. But if Siga goes, that'd be great. If Nami goes, it'd be great at the moment because I just want to see them have to vote for each other.
Right. We want to see somebody besides Purple going.
That's why I don't like 3 tribes every season because sometimes I just want 2 tribes because, hey, 50-50 shot that the tribes are going to go. Right. But in this case, it's like, dude, you don't even have to be the best tribe. You can be just the middle tribe and succeed, which is what Siga's doing. They get second every single time.
Right.
So Charlie, nothing against him. I think he's doing actually a pretty good job. He seems to have a lot of people want to work with him. Charlie's Angels. I mean, I know you just kind of covered this, but Charlie at the current moment is in a good position. We'll see if any of this holds come. It was all established like day 2. It felt like day 1, day 2. We'll see if it holds come day 13, you know, when we actually get to the Mergatory or day 12, whenever it is.
I just think there are bigger targets than him and he's so likable that he should make it pretty far.
All right. So who's our next player, Mary?
Next we have Hunter. He's on the Nami tribe. Still has a shot in the dark, no advantages or idols. He only has 5 confessionals. He got 2 this week because he had his sob story, if you'd like
emotional
to call
backstory. That. There was no crying in this one.
Emotional backstory. Of course, Hunter didn't cry, but I think we both still feel pretty good about Hunter. If we are doing a hidden winner edit, he's a good candidate for that. We've talked about this a little bit last week. One of his biggest... Because
you feel positive about him, but he's not getting a ton of content still.
Right. Yeah. You feel positive about him. He doesn't have negative content. He's in the majority. We've talked about the editing of the theme song. His name is the only one that is in a different position than all the other names.
I see a lot of comments on social media saying how hot he is. So you have to be a winner because you're hot? I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, let's look at the past winners and then decide that.
I'm just saying. I've seen a lot of comments saying he's hot. And as a straight man myself, even I could see Hunter's hot.
Yeah.
And I think that should be accounted for in his winner rankings, and we should move him up accordingly.
No. We're not going to rank people's hotness. Sorry.
All right.
But for me, Hunter is second because I do think he is.
Oh, so it sounds like
he's the number 1 candidate for a hidden winner.
How much of the hotness did it?
I think you're just a little jealous.
No.
Hotness doesn't factor at all in my rankings.
If I looked like Hunter, I would be like, dang, I'm hot. It's probably good for my ego that I don't.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Hunter for me is number 3, and I did factor in
his hotness.
No.
Okay.
I do think, okay, so I got some kickback from people, and I think there's a lot of Venus fans, and I don't know, I'm not particularly sure why. I get that Venus is important in the story. I'm not like a Venus fan, I would say.
Right.
There seems like there's a lot of adamant Venus fans, and it makes me wonder, like, do they know something I don't, or is she a character who just a lot of people are connecting with, and I just don't get it? Maybe. But Hunter has this whole story, which basically summarized as, I was going to go for a medical degree. I decided I love Survivor, and as a last hurrah with the kids I was substitute teaching for, as a favor to my family, for my sister, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Family man. Does this, realize how much he loves bringing joy to kids' lives through Survivor, and then decides, screw medicine, screw saving people's lives.
Which he had a scholarship to because he's smart.
He had a scholarship to because he's super smart, and he got fat sacks of cash, not married to Liz, but still got fat sacks of cash maybe.
How do you
can't afford all that stuff it ain't free to build all that stuff.
Scholarship.
No, I'm talking about all the Survivor stuff.
I said he got scholarships.
Yeah, I'm with you. So then he ditches medicine to do Survivor to make children's lives happy. Okay. Tell me that ain't like one of the most positive stories that Survivor could, portray on their show, right? Immediately cut to Venus. He's like, Hunter is smarter than he's acting, and he has a facade. And to me, it's like, okay, they're trying to show us that Venus is negative because there's absolutely nothing showing so far that Hunter has a facade. There's nothing implying so far that Hunter is actually faking it. I think Hunter's genuine.
Yeah.
And Venus might be a little jealous of Hunter and how much he's getting along with people because she's not getting along with anybody in her tribe, and her one ally is now gone too. So I'm not sure why there's so much Venus love, I guess is what I'm trying to say, when clearly the show is favoring Hunter hard.
Right.
Though they're doing it, as you said, with only 5 confessionals. But everything has been positive about Hunter. He's in the majority of his tribe. I still think Tevin's the front leader of the tribe strategically.
Yeah.
We'll see come a tribal, if they go to tribal, who is actually in charge around here. Because at the moment, it seems like Tevin and it seems like Venus on the bottom. But also Venus seems super important, which means that somehow she's going to survive, in my opinion. I don't know why she'd be this important if she was gone in episode 4 or 5.
Right. I agree.
We haven't gotten to Venus's part yet, but I'm just saying that whole Hunter story contrasted immediately with Venus being negative about him. It's like, has there been, in 5.5 hours of show, has there been anything positive about Venus? Positive about Venus. Important, yes. Positive, I don't know.
Not that I can recall.
Yeah. So that's just something I'll point out. Hunter is number 3, but it's almost by default because I don't really have much to knock him for besides just not a lot of confessionals. And that is not the end all be all to winning this game.
Right.
If the most confessionals was winning the game, Bhanu won. Great job, Bhanu. So, you know, it's about the quality of the confessionals.
Right. Well, and also, we talked about this kind of in last season. I remember us talking about if you got your sob story, you're either winner or you're going out next week.
Well, that's because Dee and Jake got it in episode 5, and then nobody got it for so many episodes. And we're like, well, they seem important and the show wants us to like them. But this season, Jess got one. She got voted off.
Right.
So it's not necessarily the end of the world.
No, but it is good to know your winner. But at the same time, so we get his sob story, but then no confessionals. You know, so it's like a balance of, okay, here's a little bit, but we're not going to overwhelm you with information about this person.
What is important is if you don't get one, because every winner in the new era has had an emotional backstory. I don't want to call them sob stories because they're not all sob stories.
Right.
Emotional is the right word, I think.
Right.
You have an emotional backstory if you're going to win. So, yeah, so we're talking about people who are eligible to win. I think it's Hunter and one other person who's had an emotional backstory who's still on the show. Do you know who that is?
We have 3.
Still on the show.
Still on the show.
Okay.
We have Venus and Ben and Hunter have all had one.
And that adds on to people saying Venus is a candidate. And I can't argue that. I'm struggling with the most to see how she wins. I see how somebody like her reaches the end and maybe gets 0 votes with the negativity, but what do I know?
Right. And that is if you discount in episode 1, because in episode 1, there were several people who had like in their introductions, they had pictures or videos or whatever from before Survivor, from childhood or whatever. So there were several of those in the introduction, which I do have as well, but I'm not necessarily counting those in my
We know what emotional backstory is. Yeah. We know what that means. Q almost had one this week, but they just did sound effects instead of showing any pictures.
Which is kind of weird, but whatever.
It's half of an emotional backstory, but it's not the full. You need the full shebang.
Yes. I didn't make note of that because I didn't think it counted.
No.
But anyway, so we both think I have Hunter's number 2 and you have him as number 3.
One tribal could knock Hunter down a ton. That's all I'm saying. Sure. Hunter is not like so locked into 3 for me. It's just a matter of people below him have negatives. I don't really have anything negative about Hunter yet. Yeah. So besides Venus's confessional, who's been shown to be negative this whole time.
Right.
Rebekah has Hunter at 6. Okay, who's our next player?
Next we have Jem. Jem is from Siga, still has her active shot in the dark. She has found the Beware advantage, but she does not currently hold the idol. And she currently has 5 confessionals as well.
I'm a fan of Jem as well.
Only 1 this week.
I like Jem.
Yeah.
I have almost nothing negative about Jem. Really. I mean, I like Jem. I think Jem's cool.
We have little content about Jen. I think very first episode, she said, "I'm your sole survivor." For that episode 1. So that could be a hint for her. But Siga just got such little content this week. My only content for Jem right now has been in Secret Scenes. So she had one this week and she had one last week.
That is part of her negative.
That is why I currently have her at 12.
In my opinion, the orange and purple tribe, one of them has the winner, which has drastically affected how I rank almost everybody.
Yeah.
While there are some people of green who slipped to the top because they seem to be the most important of the green tribe, I'm still like, it seems like at the moment we should be caring about purple and, of course it's impossible not to care about purple, but purple and orange, whereas green is, I mean, we took till episode 3 to show something from episode 1, you know? That's how unimportant green seems to be.
Exactly.
So Jem, I like Jem. I think Jem's cool. And while she is at number 7 for me, I could totally see her going in the first tribal, you know, at the same time and for their tribes. So I don't know.
Right.
Jem's cool. She has the Beware advantage, which,
but she has an unopened.
Will become an idol. Yes. Well, they have to lose an immunity challenge.
Right.
But this is where we talk about they threw in the line, which I'm sure has been in everybody's note, that if you don't lose immunity, what is it?
You'll receive further information.
Okay.
No, I felt like it was added to hers.
Yes.
Well, although they were buried all at the same time, I'm sure. So maybe not, but.
Well, no, added in terms of like that note is always longer than what they read to us, the audience.
Sure.
Like, it has more instructions. So that one they left in, it's like, so Green isn't going to lose until the merge story.
Yeah.
And that means that Gem should be good till the merge / we'll have an idol, I assume, come the merge. I don't know what the new instructions will be, but the other ones have been simply, hey, when you lose, dig up a key or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And that's it's as simple as that. So I'm assuming it's going to be as simple as that, because why punish somebody for winning? I guess.
Notice how they simplified the Beware advantages this season, because they thought it was going to be 60 minutes. Yep. So they made everyone just a box where you get a key. It was not burn wax on an idol. I hope Survivor in 47-48 goes back to the interesting Beware advantages like they did in 45.
You know, I really don't mind this. I think, sure, it is a lot simpler, and sure, it's more interesting to have the candle or whatever. My favorite's still making you have to get beads from your other tribe.
That was, but
because
again, that's like one where you can't. How do you do that again without everyone knowing?
Right, exactly. So I'm okay with it. It's not terrible. It's way better than you have to say this cheesy line at tribal or at a challenge. If potatoes have skin and I have skin, am I a potato? Yeah,
that was a brilliant line. I loved it. I forgot who said it, but I loved it.
Yeah, it was so memorable. Anyway,
it is memorable.
Remember it. Yeah. Back to Gem.
But was it good for Survivor? No, that was dead giveaways to everybody.
Exactly. Back to Gem. She definitely could be a hidden winner edit. We have seen that she's trying to play, but most of her strategy has been in secret scenes, which is worrying for her.
And she's not even in the inner core of the Charlie's Angels.
She's not in the inner core. And she seems to be having the tightest relationship with Moriah.
Who's also not important.
Also is not important to the overall. So, yeah, that's why I have her 12th, is just because such little to slightly negative content.
To sit here and say I have a bunch of people I feel strongly about in terms of winning would be a lie. I really don't. There's like 2 people I feel really good about. It's my top 2.
Right.
Other than that, I'm like from 3 to like 12 could completely change next week. Basically, I feel like my bottom 3 are pretty much there. Unless again, a drastic change can always change everything. Sure. Duh. You know, Tevin gets voted off, that changes everything. Duh. But I'm saying in terms of what we've seen so far, feels like 3 through like 12 for me could just like change on a dime. Could just flip it on a dime. So, all right. I have Gem at 7. You have Gem at 12, and Rebekah has Gem at 7 as well. So Rebekah and I were in agreement on that one. All right. Who's our next player?
Next, we have the mermaid dragon, Kenzie, who is on Yanu. And she still has her shot in the dark, no advantages or idols. And she has 21 confessionals.
Kenzie took a big dip this week. I liked her through the first 2 weeks.
She only had 6 this week. You know, I have not been
big dip in terms of how people view her.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. I want to say I have not liked her since the beginning. No, I don't want to say that.
It sounds so pretentious.
Yeah, I know.
I've never liked her.
No, I really didn't like how one of the first things we see about her is her, you know, whether she meant it or not, saying, hey, let's vote out either Tiffany or Q, just to see what Bhanu and Jess would say.
Yeah.
Like, it's conniving. It's sure she's playing. It just was unnecessary to me. And
everyone on her tribe has recognized her threat.
Right. Everyone on her tribe thinks she's a threat. Now everyone in all the other tribes know that she's quote unquote running the show. I don't think she is actually running the show. I do think it is Q and Tiffany, but
they ultimately will decide.
Perception is reality. I think people are going to see her as a threat right away as soon as there's a merge, if she makes it that far. So I don't really have her ranked highly, but she is higher than other people because I do think she does have good social skills. She does have a good strategic mind. So if she makes a few adjustments, she can make it farther. But I don't think she sees that she's in danger yet. You know, we've seen a couple of times Q and Tiffany talk about, we need to get, you know, Kenzie before she gets us.
He was pushing her to get her out hard last week.
Right. Even this week, he's talking about, Bhanu being loyal and they can keep him. And Tiffany's like, yeah, but he's going to tell all our secrets.
Yes,
you know,
he's loyal, but he's a liability.
So it's a struggle. So, you know, I think Kenzie's just somebody that people are going to recognize as being smart, as maybe not being that loyal, and be one of the first people that goes at the merge if she makes it that far.
If I were in Q and Tiffany's shoes, I would vote off Bhanu because he's going to spill something you don't want him to spill at some point, and information like friends is so important in Survivor.
Yeah.
I would rather just befriend Kenzie and ride that mermaid dragon into the Mergatory and figure it out from there. Personally, that's what I would do. I think Bhanu, sure, he's a loyal vote, but what does that really mean when he's telling everybody everything? You know, okay. You know, you can't really trust him because the moment he suspects that you're not with him, and that could be based on anything, you could have done nothing wrong in your mind. And he's like, oh no, they're treating me different today. I'm going to spill all the secrets because I think they're flipping on me, and they're not. Right. You know, it's hard to keep up with you for 26 days the way you want. I don't, you know, so this, when Bhanu dumped all the information to everybody at the journey, I said this to Rebekah last night, that was also on Kenzie, Q, and Tiffany to not make him feel good. They should have either A, voted him off, or B, made him feel good, and they did neither.
They did. That's true. They made a mistake when they came back from tribal. Although,
they lied to him.
How do you handle that when you have somebody like Bhanu on your tribe?
You tell him the truth before tribal if you don't plan on voting him off. You have to because he feels like he's left in the dark and he's super emotional.
I'm not necessarily talking about that. I actually don't think you tell Bhanu. I mean, because he would spill it at tribal. The way you handle is when you get back, you have to do this in the most loving way you can. You have to be like, Bhanu, we love your honesty. We love how you just want to be real and genuine. We couldn't tell you about the idol because we were afraid. But they kind of said that, but they could try to pitch it as something else. Angry and upset and just belittled him, you know? And so that is not gonna get Bhanu's vote for you either. We keep going on about Bhanu. We're talking about Kenzie here.
Well, it ties into Kenzie though, because he dished on Kenzie. He's dished on the whole Yondu tribe.
Kenzie, I think one of her biggest mistakes right now is she feels comfortable with Q and Tiffany. When Bhanu came and like came to her, but came to her crying saying, I am struggling. I need help, Kenzie. She just kind of like stared at him. You know what I mean? It's just like, you have to be a little bit empathetic towards people, even if they are super annoying. In her mind, she's like, why do I even need to do this? We're going to vote him off tonight, whatever. Okay, they're there. You're okay. It's all going to be fine. Kenzie could be a threat if she gets with a different group of people. But right now, I think she would be the next to go after Bhanu. And even if there is a tribe swap or she makes it to the merge, I think people are going to recognize her as threat. So she's number 7th for me, only because she does get content. She does seem to be strategic and she is social. So if she could make a few adjustments, I think she has a chance, but not a great chance.
I have Kenzie ranked at 9. She's really dipped for me. And Rebekah has her at 11. There's just too much. Despite how much I liked Kenzie in episode 1, there's been a lot since then to sour me on Kenzie's prospects of winning at the moment. So while Kenzie herself has done nothing wrong as a person, her game at the moment is in question.
Right.
We have somebody pitching to get you out that hard.
Right.
Who would rather keep Bhanu over you, which is saying a lot at the moment. So, all right, who is our next player?
Next is the sponsor of our podcast, Liz.
Oh, Liz Wilcox. She has fat stacks of cash. Obviously, she's all of our number 1 picks because she's paying the bills around here. No, but for real.
Liz has no advantages or idols.
Her advantage is that no man can handle her.
She still has her shot in the
sacks of cash.
She still has her shot in the dark. Let me get through this, please. And she only has 7 confessionals total. She did have 4 this week, but
one of them this week was saying that she got a gold mine of information from Bhanu. A gold mine.
Yes.
How can the rich get richer?
Yes. Only the rich can get rich. Anyways,
richer.
Mainly because she went on the journey. That's why we got a little bit more content from her. I think I know we don't have her at the exact same spot, but she's 15th for me.
Wow. Last place.
Last place. Her content so far has just been kind of like the clown content, I guess. We're
never getting sponsored with you ranking her last.
Sorry. You're meant to think that she's kind of on the outs of her tribe, that she doesn't necessarily know what's going on within her tribe. We have seen no strategy, no relationships, nothing from her.
Except that she's rich.
People
are like, she's not very genuine when she talks to us. And she is loaded. No man can handle that much money with Liz, okay? Liz Wilcox, Google her.
The few times we've heard people talking about her, it's always been negative.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Liz is not long for this game. I do have her ranked at 10th because I think it's funny, but also because the whole bottom third of the cast in my rankings, I'm like, can any of you really win at the moment? I don't really think so.
Yeah.
Liz is one of them. I'm like, nothing really has been shown. It's just that I find Liz funny.
So you have her a little bit higher in your
just a little personal bias.
Yeah.
My real picks are number 1 and 2 for winner. At the moment, everyone else is. I do want to mention, we forgot to mention this during Hunter's segment because it is important. And I want to mention it now. So I'm sorry we didn't bring it up before. Venus, Hunter, Tiffany, Tevin have their faces shown before the theme song.
Yes.
And so that is part of why Hunter got higher. I wish we had brought it up during his part.
I'm sorry. I did forget that and I noticed this. So I was going to bring it up when
we'll bring it up during the other 3 people Tevin as well. But the fact that all their faces were shown before all the names is the same thing they did in 45 for like Jake, Austin, D, and I forget who the other person was.
Right.
If there was another person. So yeah, that was the final 3 of 45. Are 3 of these people the final 4? Our final 3 of 46? We'll see. But it's possible. At the moment, none of these people are voted off, so therefore it's possible.
Right.
All right. Sorry. Back to Liz. She's loaded. She's rich. And that's all you really need to know.
That's all you need.
Don't question Liz. All right.
So I have her 15th. You have her 10th. Where does Rebekah?
If you're a man, you can't even DM her because you can't handle her. Rebekah has her ranked 14th, offensive, and I have her at 10th. All right, let's move on from the future sponsor of our podcast, Liz Wilcox, marketing guru. Go ahead.
We have Moriah on the Sega tribe. She has her shot in the dark, and she has an extra vote. And she currently has only 6 confessionals. She had 0 last night, so she was one of the few people that had 0.
So I got at least one comment yesterday saying, Maria's not in your top 3 anymore. It's a little hypocritical because you left Tevin in your top 3 because you both got 0 confessionals. Maria for me is number 4. She's barely outside my top 3. Yeah. She only moved down a spot because she got skunked. And I think she's also on the least important tribe of the 3. There's multiple factors. Tevin's still on a tribe who I think is important.
Right.
I don't think Maria's on a tribe that's important.
Yeah.
So Maria's number 4. It's still super high.
Yes. Maria's also number 4 for me. I think that once they get to the merge, which everyone in Sega, as we've said, is probably going to make the merge. She's not going to be perceived as a threat. She's got Charlie's Angels. Older lady. She has her,
potentially,
her alliance of 4, which is really good to have a strong alliance of 4 if that is going to happen, which I think it could. And she has the aspect of, we've talked about it, Denise Stapley, who she is the mom figure per se.
She ain't being the mom,
but she's not a mom. So she is being smart. She's being strategic. The content we've seen from her is all positive. She has a good alliance. And strategic.
We've seen a lot of strategic content on top of positivity. Yeah.
So she has
a good mixture.
She has a very good mixture. We feel like we know who she is a little bit already, even with only 6 confessionals.
She tricked the big-brained the
monster of Survivor.
The monster Survivor. She tricked him.
Yeah.
Jelinski got tricked by Maria, okay?
Yeah.
So she befuddled him. Rebekah has him at number 1.
Or has Maria at number 1?
Yep. I'm sorry. Maria, not Jelinski. Maria.
So we think her chances are pretty good. We'll have to wait until to see an actual tribal.
That would be huge. If Sega went to tribal, that would be huge.
Her only winner hints per se would be in episode 1. She said she's going to be driving her minivan, driving the game. If you want to consider that. And I think it was episode 2 where she compares herself to Denise and Malcolm with Charlie.
And we got...
That could have been episode 1.
That was episode 1 or 2 with her and Charlie.
Which we got an actual flashback of Denise and Malcolm.
Actual flashback, which we got with Austin and Dee last season where they showed Rob and Amber. Not just saying the people you're like you did this week saying Philip and Rob, which they didn't show.
They didn't show.
But they actually showed. And I think that showing, not just telling in Survivor is a big editing hint for a lot of things.
So I think she has a good chance, for sure.
Maria, number 4 for me as well. I'm not actually low on Maria. It's only that Hunter is on the important tribe. That's why he's moved up above her. On the important tribe with actual hints that he could be a final 3 person. And I cannot ignore that.
Right.
All right. Who's our next player after Maria?
After Maria, we have Moriah.
Oh.
Which also on Sega. I think I've been calling her Mo.
Why did they do that?
Because she said at one
people
time.
Similar names on the same tribe.
Yeah, whatever.
Tarzan, Troyzan, never forget.
Yeah. She still has her shot in the dark, no other advantages or idols, and she only has 5 confessionals, only 1 from last.
Unlike Hunter and Jem, her 5 confessionals I do not remember.
Right. They have not seemed to be important.
No.
Whatever they are.
Nothing against Moriah.
Yeah.
I know that she's part of Charlie's Angels, and she's not in the inner core. She's with Jem on the outside layer. But other than that, who's Moriah?
Right.
She was on the bench, and she had a little fun moment with
Liz.
With Liz. Oh, maybe she knew Liz was stacked and she was trying to get some of that cash. You know what I mean? No man can handle Liz, but maybe Moriah can.
So Moriah's 11th for me.
Yeah.
Just the lack of content is not great.
Moriah for Rebekah is ranked 13th, and I have Moriah at 12th. We're all about the same on her. She's my bottom third. My bottom third.
Interchangeable.
No, I mean, yeah, everyone's interchangeable. I mean, anything can happen. But at the moment, yeah, Moriah, I'm like, who's Moriah? Why should she win? You know, at least other people with the same number of confessionals, I'm like, oh, I can remember Jem, and I can remember Hunter. I don't remember anything Moriah has said.
Right.
Exactly. Which is unfortunate. Did she have any last night specifically?
She had one last night.
What?
I don't know what it was about, but she had one.
Even Charlie, I remember him being like, this group idol hunt is fake. You know,
maybe
his
it was
only
about
confessional. I don't remember Mariah's.
Maybe it was about the idol hunt though.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
That was pretty much their only content was they all went idol hunting. Woohoo.
Yep. And Ben came back and told them the story of what Bhanu did.
Yes, that's true.
And which, by the way, is basically required content. Basically required.
Oh yeah.
To be on the show.
Yeah.
Especially when you have somebody break down like that. Like,
yeah,
you're almost guaranteed to like your story is going to be a part of the show. So, all right. Who is next after Moriah?
Next we have Q, who's on Yanu.
Who is important, though so far because of his tribe going to tribal every time. Right. Sorry, go ahead. What are all the stats?
So Q has his shot in the dark, no advantages or idols. He has 15 confessionals. 6 were from this week. So each week he's gotten a few more confessionals.
We forgot to mention during Ben and Bhanu, they both don't have a vote. Did you say that?
No, I didn't.
Because that affects their shot in the dark.
Disadvantage, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah. We should probably keep track of that. That's my bad.
It does affect their shot.
I didn't tell Mary to keep track of disadvantages. We should keep track of those.
Okay.
Because that affects whether they can use their shot in the dark.
True. Okay.
That's important as well, especially for Bhanu. So anyways, we're talking about Q.
We're talking about Q.
I don't think is winning, but also is important. Q feels like we reached the merge. He's gone in the first few votes.
Right.
So it feels like for Q.
I think so. Q did drop a little bit for me this week, only because they made a point, and yes, they made a point because everything in the show is edited, and you have content that is shown and content that's not.
Yes, Mom, I understand.
Sorry, but they made a point to show Q saying he considered quitting. He wanted people to write his name this week. That's never positive.
We did get emotional content though about how he struggled in the past, which is important, but it wasn't an emotional backstory.
Right, it wasn't an emotional backstory. So this could be a positive. We said, we get good feelings from Q. We know he's likable. He's trying. He's honorable.
He does talk like he's in the military.
He's working really hard.
Very straightforward.
But we do think that, once he gets to the merge, he's going to be considered a big threat and probably voted out quickly. So he's important right now because he's Tiffany's ally and he is running, quote unquote, the Yanu tribe. So content from him
But he called Bhanu Philip to his face and he didn't think twice about it.
Yes.
So that's the kind of stuff where it's like, well, I'm glad Bhanu let you get away with that.
Right. If for some reason Q makes it to the merge and just goes on an immunity run, even if he gets to the end, I don't think he would win because of that. Because he's not going to be able to sit at Final Tribal and tell the jury what they want to know or want to hear.
Finesse the jury,
Yeah. So he's number 10 for me. He dropped a few spots just because number one of them showing, oh no, I need to go home because I lost. It's not positive.
He's like, shut up, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's not positive. You don't want your winner saying that. And how, now Bhanu's outed and everyone probably outed that he and Tiffany are a tight duo, but at the same time, that's big targets on their back for that. So yeah, he's not in a great spot right now.
Q for me is number 8. For Rebekah, he's number 5. She actually has him pretty high. A lot of that's the thing. If Q was on Sega,
different story.
We'd probably be like, who's Q? I feel like he'd be part of the people like Tim and Ben over there getting skunked. But he's on the tribe. It's getting a lot of content. So it's hard for us at the moment to filter what's important because what we need to see are Nami to go to tribal so we can see, okay, how important is Yanu when they're not going to tribal?
Right. And they almost made it this week. We were on the edge of our seats. I was on the edge of my seat during challenge. So I think it's coming. I think their time's coming.
Liz and her fat stacks of cash made Nami fall behind at the beginning in the water.
Yes.
Those $100 bills weigh even more when they're filled with water. But Hunter beasted the end of the challenge and Yanu couldn't throw beanbags on the stupid spindle thing. I don't know what it's called.
You know who Q would be over at Sega? He'd be Uncle Bruce. He'd be the
Bruce!
guy. He'd be trying to lead, and everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Okay.
Bruce! Oh, because they're the vibe tribe.
Yeah, because they're the vibe, and they're just chilling. And Q's like, let's get the water. Let's get the firewood. Yeah. You're sitting around, So it wouldn't quite work.
Bruce!
For him to be on Sega.
Okay, who's our next player?
Next, we have Soda. Her shot in the dark is active.
She got stunk this week.
She has no confessionals this week. Yep, she has a total of 7. No advantages is what I was trying to say. So yeah, she did get skunked this week on the Nami tribe. We have a brief flash of Tevin saying Soda's got to go next week, which means she's safe for a couple more weeks at least.
Does not mean that, because they did next time Survivor. Jess is going, and Jess went. Did
they?
Yes.
I forgot that.
Someone brought it up, and I went back and looked. I'm like, they're right.
Oh no, so maybe Soda is gone next week.
When we joke about how they don't do it is the season they actually don't. I haven't said that this season because I have not, because it used to be every week they would be like, no, maybe Tony's going next week. Okay. Yeah. It would be like every week they would do, but when they're not doing it every week, I almost don't pay attention as much. Mm-hmm. So while I don't think Tevin necessarily is going to vote off Soda next week, not that can't happen. It may be more of but they are beefing, and that is important.
Yes, that is important, which is kind of what I'm saying, because I don't think Nami's going to lose next week. They might.
I love how
possible
Tevin lost her shoes.
Yes,
but they are going to portray next week as Tevin's in the right for their beef.
For getting Soda out. Yeah. So I like Soda. She's in the majority of her alliance. It seems like everyone likes her. She's sociable. She's kind. She talks to everyone. Everyone wants to talk strategy with her. We've talked about that. We don't have any necessary winner hints for her so far. It's just she's in the majority of her alliance.
Hunter's annoyed by her, and we're supposed to feel positively about Hunter.
That's true. Hunter has been annoyed by her. And now we see Tevin's going to be annoyed by her next week. So that's going to, I guess that was the one negative.
She came to play like Survivor 42, and she's doing it, okay?
Yeah.
Some people are annoyed by Survivor 42 as well. Also, Marianne was super annoying too. Some people in her tribe, but Marianne went on to win, and Marianne had constant content all the time. We were meant to like Marianne.
Soda did not have content this week.
No.
So that's not great for her. But I do think she still has a really good chance of making it just because of her social game. And she's not the big target. She's not going to be targeted, for her social threat like Tevin will be. She's not going to be targeted for her physical prowess like Hunter will be. So I think she could definitely slip through, as long as whatever this beef between her and Tevin doesn't take her out of the game.
Yeah, it could just be a temporary thing that they're just hyping up for the episode.
Right.
But if it's anything more than that, Tevin's going to win. That's how we've been set up.
That's how we've seen so far, as Tevin is the leader. He's the Pied Piper. Got to remember that. But anyways, we'll talk about that when we get to Tevin. Soda for me is 6th. I think she has a good chance, but if she makes it to the end, I think she's kind enough and sweet enough to get a lot of votes. But I think she's going to be perceived as a threat before then and be taken out earlier.
I like Soda, but I'm with you. Is Soda is she long for this game if she's against Tevin, who they're hiding all of his negative content, including the time that Soda was actually in the right and Tevin was in the wrong? Mm-hmm. No. So Soda's likely to lose to Tevin, as how we've been set up. Mm-hmm. So at the moment, I have Soda at 12. Wow. Rebekah has Soda at 9. And where'd you have Soda again?
6.
Well, one of us has to be high on soda.
I was the highest, apparently.
I drink no sugar, though, so it's not me. It must be you.
Okay.
All right, who's next?
Next, we have Tevin. Tevin's on Nami. He does have an extra vote, and he still has his shot in the dark.
Number 1.
He has 9 confessionals,
number 1.
Although he had 0 last night.
Also my number 1.
He's also my number 1 right now, even though he's my number 1 mainly because of the opening scene where he did the narration.
They cut all of his negative content.
His face is one of the 4 faces we see right before the theme song really takes off. And he's running the show on his tribe. So yeah,
he's in the majority. The only person who's against him is Venus. And while she is important, without an advantage, what can she do?
Right.
Though to be fair, at the moment, Randon's gone. So that advantage should be back into play. That'd be where advantage. And that could be what Venus needs to make a move.
Right. I think Venus is being set up to be the villain that Tevin or Hunter will take down.
Or both. Because they're the Andy Griffith Alliance.
They're working together. Right.
Yeah.
So Tevin, we just keep saying it, like he has no negative content. And if he does, it's cut. So he's still getting content because he's a character and the show likes him.
He got skunked this week.
He did get skunked this week.
I want to point out that him and Moriah both got skunked, and they've been established as very important, very big contenders to win. And I wonder if the editors are continuing their streak of trying to screw with us by doing this, because it is an Edgic thing. The people in the Edgic community don't like when somebody gets skunked. I don't like when somebody gets skunked. I think that I said it all during 45. I'm like, the fact that there's like 3 or 4 people here who had 0 confessionals. And I think I said during I remember far back to 42, we were on this. You get 0 confessionals in an episode. Winners don't get that. Winners get confessionals every episode. And I stand behind that. So I don't know if this is editors screwing with us, because they've established that since the beginning of episode 1, they're screwing with us, or if this is legit. Because if it's legit, then Tevin's not winning.
Right.
Winners don't get skunked in the new era of Survivor, which is the important era that we're talking, the budget era of Survivor. That's what we're talking about.
Well, I feel like that they have made adjustments, especially in this season. We've talked about like so many red herrings, so much content from all the players, that I think that this would be an intentional trying to hide the winner a little bit more. And the fact that they don't do it just one person. 4 people last night did not get confessionals.
Who were the 4 again? It was Moriah,
Tevin, Soda, and Tim.
Tim is not important.
Which Tim, has been proven to not be important. But at the same time, you get 4 people who don't have confessionals versus like maybe one week and maybe a different person another week.
I'd only argue 2 of those 4 are important. I mean, Soda might be, but like, that's the thing. If all 4 of them were important originally, like let's say it was Kenzie, Tevin, Moriah, and who else? Like Charlie, or someone else who's been important so far, I would be like, oh, that's concerning. Right. I mean, that's not concerning. That's actually, but they're screwing with us.
Right.
Sorry. But it's concerning because it's not about all people who are important. It's just two of them, in my opinion.
I think it is intentional. And now whether it's intentional because they're trying to hide the winner or it's intentional because this person isn't important.
Imagine if they were like, oops, we forgot.
Right. No, obviously. Obviously it's intentional. Obviously somebody didn't just make a mistake and somebody got fired because there were 4 people without confessionals, No, it's definitely important. I think everyone sees that Tevin is a main player. I still kind of feel like he's being built up to be the Jesse or the Carla or whatever, the really likable person who gets cut. And they're just making him that likable person because he probably has so much content. I mean, this guy's all over the place. He's like constantly talking, constantly making faces.
Get this guy Tribal to interact with Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff's going to have a good time.
Super energetic. He's TV. He's what you want to see on TV.
He's literally an actor.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Which makes him perfect for TV.
So, yeah, it's just like he's going to make it far. Whether he will be taken out before he gets to the final 3 or not, we'll see. But if he is sitting on that final tribal, I don't think anybody has a chance. I'm
with you. I buy the theory that he could be somebody who is like a Jesse or a Cody or let's say, for example, I know not everybody's a fan of Carson, but he was established to be a fan favorite. Whether you liked him or not, it's not as important as he was established to be one, but they get eliminated right before the end. We've had this almost since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
With Rudy in season 1, literally the beginning of time, beginning of Survivor time, that a fan favorite gets eliminated right before final tribal, and he could be it, and that would make sense as well. Yeah. So there's no one I'm sitting here telling you is the winner. I didn't even do that last season until like episode 5 or 6. I'm not going to start now. We're only in episode 3. It's too early. Though I really appreciate the 90-minute episodes because it felt like, okay, finally, they don't have all the time in the world. They have to choose to cut stuff. It feels like. Whereas episode 1 and 2, I'm like, there's too much time.
Yes,
there's 4 hours, 2 episodes, too much time. Like what is actually important here? I don't know. So now we're finally getting to, okay, here's what's important, here's what's not. And Tevin was cut, and it does make me question. He is number 1 for me, but I am not so far up there with Tevin that I am unwilling to put him down on my rankings. Right. So Mary, you have him at number
1.
And Rebekah has him at 4. So she's pretty high on him as well.
Okay.
But her my Moriah was her number 1. So she's almost swapped with me. I have Moriah at 4. I have Tevin at 1. All right. Who is our next player?
Next, we have Tiffany. Tiffany is on the Yanu tribe. She still has her shot in the dark, and she has a hidden immunity.
If anyone's coming out of Yanu in the best shape, it's Tiffany.
Right. She also has 24 confessionals. Only 5 this week, but still definitely like a major character, which we said everyone except Q on Yanu has over 20 confessionals.
She has the second most, doesn't she?
She has the second most after Bhanu.
And she didn't need to cry to get half of them.
Right. Every single content that we get from Tiffany, like whether a confessional or whether interaction with someone at camp or even at the challenge, is very positive. I mean,
she did make fun of Jess last week, which she's like, well, let's name all the pros of Jess. All right, I'll get back to you.
Yeah, but the show itself was dunking on
That's
Jess.
true.
So it's almost like she was the voice of the show at that point.
Oh, you're right, because they did. They just dunked on Jess every moment they could.
So Tiffany, I'm very high on as well. I think strategically, she's in a great spot. Both Q and Kenzie want to work with her. She's strong in the challenges. She was probably, if we have merge right now, I think Q would be the higher threat. When Bhanu went and told his big story, he didn't say Tiffany was running the show. He said Kenzie was running the show. So that takes some heat off of Tiffany as well. She's also I feel like she's just likable and genuine and open and honest with
her
people.
face is in those 4 people at the beginning of the theme song.
Yep, one of the 4 at the beginning.
No cut scenes have been about Tiffany
her, no.
in the sense of negativity. I mean, also none have been specifically about Tiffany. But then again, you said that the scene where the rain is pouring on them and Bhanu was the worst looking tribe of the 3. Tiffany was the spokesperson for them. So maybe that was a negative scene in a sense about Bhanu, and they decided to cut it because Tiffany's our future winner.
That is possible.
So
I can see that too.
Why did they cut it? That could be it. I still think it should have been left in though.
Yeah, I do too.
It was a good scene, and they could have shortened it if they needed to, but it should have been left in.
I agree. So, we're both really high on Tiffany. I think Tiffany could be definitely a player after the merge comes and makes it pretty far. I think she'll be less of a target than Tevin or even Hunter.
Yeah.
Right away.
Just not go tribal so we can see whether she's still important or not. That's our question.
Right. It could be she gets so much content because obviously Bhanu is the one losing all the time. But I think she's going to be important, which is why I have her as 3rd.
Rebekah and I both have her at number 2. Yeah. So we're all top 3 for all of us. I think it's the only person we all agree is a top 3 player. Rebekah doesn't have Hunter at number 1, 2, or 3. I don't have Moriah 1, 2, or 3. You don't have Moriah 1, 2, or 3. So that's the only person we all agree is top 3. So keep that in mind. Tiffany, strong winner contender at the moment. All right, who is our next player?
So our next player is Tim,
who is not a strong winner contender, and it's not anything personal.
It's not his fault, right? Yeah, probably. So he's on Sega. He still has a shot in the dark. No other advantages, and he had 0 confessionals this week with a total of 6. So he's one of the people on the lower end of the confessional. Content we get from him is not strategic. It's not really
every
important.
Week it seems like a scene has been cut from him too, where he gets to talk.
He's been in a secret scene the last 2 weeks.
Well, he was also wasn't he? Didn't he also talk during the raining scene?
Yes.
So 2 scenes this week
right,
had Tim
two of
talking
his
to
scenes
us.
were him talking. Yep, that's true.
They do not care much for Tim. So he's kind of like Randon. Like, does he get something happen?
It could be because Randon was definitely like shadowed.
They made sure we didn't care about Randon, so that when he gets eliminated, we don't feel that bad, and we can empathize with the Bhanu tribe as they celebrate somebody literally being pulled out of the game for an injury.
Right.
Yes.
So we could see something like that from Tim. I hope it's not another medical evacuation or even worse, a quit. Yeah. But it does seem to be like even Ben gets more, which Ben went on the journey and he's more of an outgoing person.
Ben's
than
a character.
Tim. Yeah. But Tim, it just seems like, okay, I'm here and nothing's really happening. So
nice. Tim's like a normal person.
Right. Exactly. Super cool guy.
Tim's like a normal person.
Yeah.
He's just on Survivor. He's like, yep, we keep winning.
And that's it.
Yep.
I think, and with it, the content that gets cut from him, from what we can tell, he does want to have some strategy and trying to make some stuff work, but they haven't gone to travel. So nothing's happened with him. And his content gets cut. So I'm not very high on Tim. I have him higher than other people just because of the lack of content. It could be good or negative. I don't know yet. He, in my mind, could be a contender for another secret winner, a hidden winner, and he's just waiting in the wings, but could be doubtful.
In my opinion, doubtful.
So that's why he's 9th for me, but it'll probably change if he's still getting skunked like
then
this
again,
next week.
I have Liz at 10. Who am I to talk?
Yeah, who are you to talk?
She's just so rich. Just so rich.
So where do you have Tim?
Tim for me is 14. Rebekah has Tim at 12. So Tim for me is next to last, and it's only because it seems like he's getting skunked.
Yeah.
Constantly. Him and Moriah, really.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's talk about our last player.
Our last player is Venus.
Apparently, we need to reevaluate Venus. I know you're about to give all the stats. I just want to point this out. Sometimes people skip from section to section. We need to reevaluate Venus because last week I think we were both super low on Venus. And she is important. I just don't think she's important in the sense of a winner.
Right.
I think she's important in the sense of, she's going to be here for a long time. So go ahead. What's all her stats?
Okay, so Venus has her shot in the dark, no other advantages or idols. She has 13 confessionals with only 3 from this week. So, yeah, let's talk about Venus. She is in that first part of the theme song. Her face is the first one. You know, if that means anything, of the 4 that are shown that we've been talking about are important. So there is that. I think our issue with Venus is that all of her content right now has been to be villainous, which is fine if the show had established that villains were somebody that they want to set up as a winner.
Yeah. This show ain't House of Villains, so that's not the case.
Right. So we keep, sure. So Venus is trying to do strategy. She's playing really hard. She's trying to make stuff work, even though she's on the bottom, which she's scrappy. I said I like that about her. But, you know, she doesn't have relationships. Her number one ally has gone home. We keep being shown in the show that she annoys people. So we're just reading what's on the TV. Like, we're not saying that Venus is a bad person, you know.
Why is there such a large group of people who are rooting for Venus? I don't know, but I get that she's important. Right. And I have her at 5.
We do have her content quite a bit, but I'm just saying it's negative content. And typically, especially in this new era, negative content does not mean you're going to be a winner. You're going to be an important character. I think she's going to make the merge. I think she's going to have a big face-off. I think she's going to lose.
If anyone's a Final 3 GOAT at the moment, it's Venus.
Yeah, I think she might get dragged to the end because for whatever reason, she's not connecting to with people and not being liked. So, I mean, she could definitely make it far, but will she win? I don't think so.
She could definitely get the Beware advantage. Get the idol, use it, knock out somebody like Hunter or Soto. I don't know about Tevin. Who else on that tribe? Is there a 5th person there?
Yes.
I just named 4 people. Who's the 5th person on Nami?
Liz.
Liz.
How could you forget Liz?
I try to forget Liz when I'm talking negatively, and that's why. Because Liz is loaded. But yes, she could get rid of Liz with an idol if she gets the Randon idol. I assume that's been rehidden. So that's the thing with Venus. Like, she could survive till the merge. And she could knock out maybe a fan favorite. Maybe she knocks out a Hunter or a Tevin. And we're all like, oh, I hate Venus now. You know, we like those people.
Right. I like Venus. I think she is a fun player. I would love to see more of her content on. Like, I wish she had more than 13 confessionals or whatever.
I wish she was more 3-dimensional, like Jeff promised villains would be.
Right. Exactly. So far, all we see is like she's kind of annoying villain. Everyone hates me and I hate everyone.
Hunter has a completely positive confessional backstory, nothing wrong at all.
Hunter's
it's not one of those annoying ones that we get sometimes. And she comes in with, Hunter is smarter than he's acting and he's putting on a facade. And the smarter than he's acting is just fine. Like, that may be true. He may be smarter than he's acting on the island, but it's the facade part that's like, it seems like that's like the nicest way you can like shoot at Hunter. What has he done to have a facade? You know?
I think Venus is good casting. Like, I appreciate that she's on the show. I'm not against Venus. I wish we had a little bit more of her content, as I was saying. So I just don't think she's going to win. She's 8th for me. Like, I think she is going to make it far. I think she's an important character. I don't think she's going to win. I
have her at 5. Rebekah has her at 3.
Wow.
Rebekah's on the Venus train. Choo choo.
Choo choo.
Choo choo wackadoo.
If we get a villain winner, which I'm down for, then Venus is a great candidate.
But why would it's just so weird. I mean, Jeff, don't get me wrong. Jeff lies all the time. But Jeff like literally came out and said, we don't do villains anymore on the show. So to come out and say that, and then that same season, let's say Venus wins, they're going to need to do a lot of work to turn around the perception, the general perception of Venus.
I feel like this is kind of a response to how in the past we've had people that were a little bit villainous, but the show didn't quite like show all of that
like
content.
Bruce?
Like Bruce, like I'm blanking. Never mind. I won't
name the season. I'll name the person, or who else was
Shan.
there?
Sorry, like Shan.
Oh no, Shan was villainous.
She was villainous, but she had like some positive content too, which kind of made us feel weird about her. I think
they gave sad music when she got voted off, and I'm like, I don't.
That's what I'm saying. So I think they're trying to lean into a villainous archetype here.
Shan was a failed edit.
Yes, Shan was a failed edit. That's what I'm saying. I think they're trying to fix that. I think Venus is the new Shan. And they're trying to make it better. They're trying to make it more fun. So they're only showing you her villainous content stuff so that you don't necessarily like it, but she's still fun and she's beautiful. So people are going to like her.
Yeah. I have her at 5. I moved her up because I know she's important. I just don't quite see the winner potential at the moment. But there's so many people here who I don't currently see it because their tribe just haven't gone to tribal.
Right.
So when they do, I will know more. But at the moment,
reevaluate.
at the moment, I really have no idea about Siga or Nami. Beyond the fact that I feel like Nami is an important tribe and Yanu's important and Siga is not.
Right.
And she's on an important tribe. So that's something to factor in.
Yep.
And she has her face in the opening. It's like, okay, is this our final 4? I don't know.
Right.
All right. Well, that is literally everybody. We've ranked everybody. Mary, do you have anything else?
No. We didn't really talk about the journey, which I should have talked about in the episode.
Bhanu broke down, told everybody everything, and everybody now thinks that Kenzie's a threat.
Right.
Basically. And that what Tiffany, it basically Yanu's tribe's been blown up information wise.
Right. That was all I was going to say, was now we have more information going out around there. So, but yeah, overall, I think it's still a season I am trepidatiously positive about.
Things we can say. It is a season of Survivor. It is airing on television, and I watched it.
Right.
Yes.
I'm enjoying it still. I was on the edge of my seat this week.
I have watched live Survivor 1 through 13, and then I joined the Navy, and I got out, and I came back, and I've been watching live Survivor from 32 through 46 now. And this is definitely a season I have watched on television as it aired.
Wow.
Yep, that's what I can say so far. So I hope it gets better, but 45 had a stronger start. It helped that they had a mess of a tribe, but that mess of a tribe was so much more entertaining. We also I feel like their 2 tribes more entertaining than what we've had mostly so far. Though I really think episode 2 has dragged down the season by being so long. Like the pacing can change a lot.
It's true.
Survivor 45 could have handled Survivor 45 had 3 90-minute episodes, first 3. It probably could have handled a 2-hour episode in the premiere because Lulu was that much of a mess and had the content for it. But 46 did not have the content for all this time they gave it. So, all right. Well, we'll see if it gets better. Let's put it that way. All right. Well, we thank you all for listening. We'll see you all next time. Bye.